Backed into a corner with no way out? Have you ever faced a situation so terrifying it felt like being thrown into a den of hungry lions? Well, today we're talking about a man who literally went through that. This is the incredible story of Daniel, a man whose faith was tested in the most extreme way imaginable. Let's travel back in time to ancient Babylon. Daniel was a man of great integrity and wisdom, so much so that he earned the respect and favor of King Darius. The king was so impressed with Daniel's character and abilities that he planned to set him over the entire kingdom. Now, as you can imagine, this didn't sit well with the other officials. They were consumed by jealousy. They watched Daniel day and night, searching for any mistake, any flaw, any little thing they could use against him. But they found nothing. Daniel was blameless, a man of unwavering integrity in both his public duties and his private life. Frustrated, these jealous administrators realized there was only one way to trap Daniel. They had to use his faith against him. They knew Daniel was devoted to his God and prayed 3 times a day, every single day without fail. So they hatched a devious plan. They went to King Darius with a manipulative proposal. "O King Darius, live forever," they began, flattering him. "All the high officials of the kingdom have agreed that the king should issue an edict and enforce the decree that anyone who prays to any god or human being during the next 30 days, except to you, O king, shall be thrown into the lion's den." Flattered by the idea of being the sole object of worship for a month, and not suspecting their malicious intent, King Darius signed the decree. Under Persian law, once a decree was signed by the king, it was irreversible. The trap was set. Now what would Daniel do? He knew about the new law. He knew the terrifying penalty. He had a choice. He could compromise his faith for 30 days to save his life, praying in secret or not at all. Or he could continue to honor his God, no matter the cost. What Daniel did next is a powerful testament to his character. He went home to his upstairs room where the windows opened toward Jerusalem, and right there, in plain sight, he got down on his knees and prayed, giving thanks to his God just as he had done before. He didn't hide. He didn't waver. He chose faithfulness over fear. This was exactly what his enemies were waiting for. They spied on him, caught him in the act of prayer, and immediately rushed back to the king. "Daniel, one of the exiles from Judah, pays no attention to you, O king, or to the decree you put in writing. He still makes his petition 3 times a day," they reported with glee. When the king heard this, he was greatly distressed. He realized he had been tricked. He deeply respected Daniel and spent the rest of the day desperately trying to find a loophole, a way to rescue him. But his hands were tied. The law was unchangeable. As sunset approached, the conspirators came back to remind the king of his own law. With a heavy heart, the king gave the order. Daniel was brought and thrown into the lion's den. The king, full of regret, said to Daniel, "May your God, whom you serve continually, rescue you." A large stone was brought and placed over the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet ring and the rings of his nobles, so that Daniel's situation could not be changed. The king then returned to his palace, a tormented man. He couldn't eat, he refused any entertainment, and he couldn't sleep a wink all night. Imagine the scene: a dark pit, the smell of dust and wild animals, the sound of heavy breathing in the darkness. Daniel, a man in his 80s, surrounded by powerful, hungry lions. From a human perspective, this was a death sentence. There was no escape. But Daniel was not alone in that den. At the first light of dawn, the king got up and hurried to the lion's den. His voice was filled with anguish as he called out, "Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God, whom you serve continually, been able to rescue you from the lions?" Imagine the tense silence that followed. The king held his breath, fearing the worst. And then, a voice from the pit. It was Daniel. "May the king live forever," he called out. "My God sent his angel, and he shut the mouths of the lions. They have not hurt me because I was found innocent in his sight. Nor have I ever done any wrong before you, O king." The king was overjoyed. He gave orders to lift Daniel out of the den, and when Daniel was brought up, they inspected him closely. There wasn't a scratch on him, not a single wound. Why? Because he had trusted in his God. The power of faith had triumphed over the power of the lions. The story doesn't end there. Furious at the men who had maliciously accused Daniel, King Darius commanded that they, along with their entire families, be thrown into the same lion's den. And before they even reached the floor of the den, the lions overpowered them, a stark and immediate contrast to how they had treated Daniel. This miraculous event had a profound impact on the entire kingdom. King Darius then wrote to all the nations and peoples of every language in all the earth, "I issue a decree that in every part of my kingdom people must fear and reverence the God of Daniel. For he is the living God, and he endures forever. His kingdom will not be destroyed. His dominion will never end. He rescues and he saves. He performs signs and wonders in the heavens and on the earth. He has rescued Daniel from the power of Thelians." So what can we take away from this powerful story? It's a story about courage, integrity, and the incredible power of unwavering faith. Daniel's situation seemed hopeless. The odds were impossibly stacked against him, but he refused to compromise what he believed in, even when facing death. He put his trust completely in God, and God delivered him in a way no one could have ever imagined. This story reminds us that even when we feel like we are in our own lion's den, whether it's through injustice, fear, or seemingly impossible challenges, we don't have to face it alone. Holding on to our integrity and faith can give us a strength that defies circumstances. Daniel's courage didn't come from his own power, but from his deep and abiding trust in a power far greater than any earthly threat. Thank you so much for joining me today to explore this incredible story of faith and deliverance. If this video inspired you or gave you a bit of hope, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel for more content like this. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay strong and keep the faith.